Good evening, I'm Niko, and tonight we bring you a story that hits close to home for many residents in our community. Imagine waking up every morning to face the day without the luxury of a hot shower or the comforts of warm water for 2 weeks straight. That's the harsh reality for many students living on campus where a broken hot water heater led to weeks without heat or hot water. On our campus, it is easy to take for granted access to basic amenities. The absence of heat and hot water turned daily routines into a struggle for hundreds of students. This issue affected hundreds of students with no heat or hot water for the students who reside at the Commons, the Old, Farside, Central, and Crossroads. With seemingly more than half the residents on campus without heat, the only updates students got were very cryptic emails with the date to get things restored getting pushed further and further back. Even though the heat and hot water recently got restored, the question of what took so long for the school to fix has caused major outrage among the Purchase College community. The issue of having no heat or hot water boils up even more bad blood for students who already complain about the normal conditions of the housing on campus, specifically in the Commons. This in turn greatly upset the community here at Purchase. With most of the housing on campus built during and before the 1980s period, most housing options, such as the Commons, are a little bit too run down, and some believe that they are way too outdated for any paying student to live in. There are also some students who get good apartments and really enjoy living on campus. Students believe that it is unacceptable for housing and the housing system at Purchase to work this way. With reports of mold, mildew, and countless pipe leaks, some students are very upset with the housing that they paid for. However, there is another side to the spectrum that has enjoyed their stay at the Commons. Now, here are a couple of students who live in the Commons currently sharing their experiences. Today we are joined by Ash and Aidan, who are from the Commons and who have experienced the heating issue firsthand. Ash and Aidan, welcome to the program. We're really excited to have you here today to talk about what it's like living at the Commons. So if you guys would just mind telling me, who you are, what you're studying, and how long you've lived in the Commons.
My name's Aidan. I'm a history major, and I lived in the Commons this year and last year.
Okay.
I'm Ashley. I'm psych major, VA minor, and I lived in the Commons the past 2 years.
Right on. Thank you guys so much. So I'll go ahead and ask both of you guys, and whoever wants to answer it first, you're free to do so. What has your overall experience of living in the Commons been like? If you could just give me, a very quick Reader's Digest.
I mean, it's not like better or worse than a lot of places, like overall, but it has some benefits. Like if you drive, it's probably pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
If you also get a nice apartment, because you might not get a nice apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely like a back and forth between like the goods and the bads of living in the Commons.
Sure, yeah, you kind of have to balance those two, just like anything else, right? Two
Yeah.
sides to the coin. What is, if you could speak to a really good positive experience that you've had in the Commons, what would that be? What's your most memorable highlight of living there?
I think living in my apartment twice, like I lived in the same apartment the past 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of knew the issues going in and out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was been like a nice space to have.
Now, it's my understanding that you were an RA. That's correct,
Yeah.
right? Would you mind being able to maybe speak on that a little bit? Maybe if it made your living experience different than other students living there?
It definitely did. I get free housing, so I don't pay for housing, and I get my own room. So I get a double room as a single. So my room is definitely bigger. There's less furniture in there. The apartment just feels like there's more space because instead of 4 people, there would be a total of 3. And I lived this year with my roommate, and it was just 2 of us in a 4-person apartment.
Right on. Good deal. And, just to the opposite end of the question that I just asked, what is the most negative experience that you've had living in the Commons?
Mold.
Fix your mic.
Definitely
Just keep going.
the mold.
Yeah, the mold. And
Yeah.
has it gotten you like sick, or you've experienced any symptoms like
I
that?
mean, I don't know if the mold's gotten me sick, but I have like asthma, and I haven't had any asthma problems since I was probably like 8 or 9.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that's like, that's a scare for someone who has pre-existing, health problems, because mold is like, so not conducive to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you experienced mold or anything like that in your unit?
So the rugs, I also have asthma, and I
Mhm.
know the rugs are terrible, and they aren't really cleaned.
Mhm.
My friend went into their apartment, who also lives in the Commons,
Okay.
and there was just like carpet cleaner powder all over the carpet
Mhm.
and the
Yeah,
furniture.
kind of putting a Band-Aid on the gaping wound there, right?
Yeah.
What are your opinions on the housing system total in Purchase? We have a lot of different facilities here, and they are obviously very different from the freshman housing. all the way up to Alumni Village. There's obviously like a huge dichotomy between the both. You know, what can you speak to that? You know, what are your overall opinions?
I think the housing selection system makes sense because it goes by credits. That's fair. But like, I think the problem is that all the dorms aren't maintained, and they like parts of like Crossroads and like Farside are so vile. Like, I wouldn't want to pay money to live there.
What do you think, like, specifically? It just makes them, like, so gross.
Well, there's like roaches and
Yeah.
like, come on, guys.
Absolutely. And if, you know, just circling back to our commons discussion, if any of you guys could change, you know, one major thing, what would be the most instrumental change you would want to see happen in the commons?
I think AC, because it can get really, really hot. But I know
I can speak to that
electrical-
firsthand, absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
how hot those apartments can get, especially like in the winter, and just like trying to open the window does nothing.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I've experienced my own living space in the commons was, you know, on an average spring day where it's 50 outside, it's 95 inside the bedroom, just being right above the laundry room. What is one thing, you know, I know we're really kind of on a bash of the commons roll here, but what is one thing that we think the commons is doing right? You know, what do we think? You know, it's like, yeah, this is pretty, it's habitual, it works, it's systematically good.
2 bathrooms.
2 bathrooms? Okay, for sure.
Yeah, 2
Alumni doesn't even
bathrooms.
have that.
Yeah, 2 bathrooms are good.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the area itself, because it's not as loud or like party centered to the other apartments. So it's nice to have like the lawn in between all the apartments and like quiet nights sometimes.
For sure. Absolutely. Do you feel like some of the apartments in the commons are better quality than the others?
Yeah. As an RA who goes into all the apartments, I see how different they are compared to others, especially different streets.
And now, Aidan, now you have a little bit of a different perspective. You know, you're living in one unit, you're kind of constrained to that. But I'm sure you have friends. You know, what do you think?
Yeah, like my apartment when I moved in, like both of the couches were like covered in cat hair. Like it was disgusting. And like our drains came clogged, and we only had one mattress in me and Niko's room. So that was not fun. And the house
Sounds
smelled
like it.
like straight mold. I have no idea if it still smells like mold or not, and if I've just got nose blind.
Certainly unfavorable living conditions indeed, but such is the life in the commons, right? Do you feel like some of the apartments in the commons are better quality than the others, or do you feel like it's just all around kind of the same pigsty, so to speak?
I think it's kind of the same. A lot of the like everything's the same in the commons. Some apartments look a little nicer, but I think overall they still have the same rugs that have been there for years that are disgusting. They still have the same furniture that's disgusting. So it's like,
Just put a little effort into fixing it, because at time it can appear so beyond disrepair. You know, even walking in, the floor surfaces feel a little, you know, just unstable, just
yeah.
sketchy altogether. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you about the quality of your personal living situations in the commons, if you really had to rate it?
Like, if I was like paying like this was like my apartment and there was like a lease, I'd be like, oh, this is vile. Like, I'm pretty sure like if your water and stuff goes out, like our water was brown at one point. I'm pretty sure you like don't have to pay at least part of the bill for like that period of time. Like, so from that perspective, like I'd probably give it like a 3 or like a 2 or a 3. But like for like a college dorm, like I've seen how bad some other college dorms are.
For sure.
Yeah, so
be pretty
like
bad.
I give it like a 6 or a 7.
Would you like to chime in with an RA's perspective?
I would also give it a 6 or a 7, just like the overall, because I know my experience
Sounds
is
pretty neutral.
very, very different than
Absolutely,
other residents.
for sure. You have a little bit of an unfair advantage,
Yeah.
I'd argue. Do you think other students would agree about your guys' opinions on the comments. I feel like, Aidan, they would maybe take a liking to yours just a little bit more than yours, Ash.
Yeah.
Sorry. And based on your experiences, would either of you live in the Commons again?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, just is that RA's experience, or just even speaking from student testimony, right? If you only knew student testimony, you have like, you know, basic as it comes.
Speaking with residents,
yeah.
some of them live in the Commons because they're closer to their buildings where they have to go for classes. And I know they're like, I like living here, I like living with the group. So I think it's like a balance of also who you live with and who you're around and how close it is to where you need to go during the school year.
For sure. And just to wrap up our interview here, which complex has the nicest dorm rooms on campus? Let's end this on a nice note. What do we think? Which I know the answer, but which one is it?
Alumni.
For sure.
Yeah.
Alumni, definitely. Have you ever had the opportunity to be there?
I haven't lived there,
No,
but I mean, I've
you guys have been
there.
in?
Yeah.
Nice place. I don't want to shove it in your faces that I live there, but coming up on 3 semesters, so I love it. Guys, thank you so much for the interview and your time for being here today. This has been Purchase News Channel. I'm Niko. Thank you so much for joining us today.